Hey, good afternoon, Missio. It is good to see you all. I wanted to introduce to you all Elijah and Jessie, our missionaries that we've been talking about that we're going to have with us this coming Sunday, but thought we would give you all a little snapshot to introduce them to you. That way you're not meeting them for the first time this week. So Elijah and Jessie, thank you all so much for joining us. Looking forward to having you all this coming Sunday. Why don't you all tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having us. We're super grateful, incredibly grateful. So I'm Elijah. This is Jessie. We've been married. Well, this year we'll have been married for 6 years. So almost 6 years married. We got married right out of school, out of college, which is where we met. Our freshman year, right before Christmas break. Not the most advantageous time to meet, I guess, once you have a month off of school. But hey, it worked. Here we are. So Jesse's originally from Western Michigan.
Yeah, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
That's right.
Okay.
The zoo. I'm originally from Northeastern Ohio, so just between Akron and Cleveland, Ohio. We live in Northeast Ohio right now. We have a 1.5-year-old called Grayson, who is awesome and just running and ripping all over the place.
Yeah.
And he's a blast. Daniel's dad.
No, so,
Yeah, we're excited.
yeah. Now you all, what school did you all go to? What college?
Yeah, so it's a small Christian school called Spring Arbor University.
Okay.
Literally the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a cornfield that's around the whole campus.
Ah, nice. So you're from Kalamazoo, Jessie. Are you a Wolverine, a Spartan? What would you?
Born and raised a Spartan.
Okay. So,
My dad was a Spartan,
Okay.
so I had no choice.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And so you all for people that don't know this, Elijah, your grandparents, is that right, are a part of Seth Young's congregation?
Yeah. So they're members at Harvest,
Okay.
PCA in Medina, Ohio.
Yeah. Okay. And so that's how we were able to be introduced to Elijah and Jessie, is through Seth, and grateful for that. So you all are heading to Scotland. Tell us a little bit about the journey of how you got there.
Yeah. It's a long one.
Yeah.
So it's
not a little
been
one.
there. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it feels long.
It feels long. Yeah. So we've been there for 3 years already. We originally moved over the summer of 2018. So we'd been married for a year. I had done a pastoral residency at a church in Cleveland, Ohio, and then moved to Scotland because we part of this apprenticeship program that does pastoral ministry training. Places you in a UK church, you get to go to seminary, so you get both the practical ministry experience and like the theological training that you need. You get them both at the same time instead of having kind of the wait to do both, or stretch out seminary over a part-time, which just takes forever. And so we got placed in a local church in Edinburgh, Scotland, in the Free Church of Scotland. And so that was only supposed to be for 2 years. And actually in between those 2 years, we got kicked out of the country for a year, out of the United Kingdom. We had
Nothing illegal.
Short, we had some. What's that?
Nothing illegal.
No.
No.
We're clean. But we had a visa snafu and got kicked out, which was,
Well, kicked out. We had to come home anyway to renew our visas, and
well, we were only planning
weren't
to be
allowed
home.
back in.
We were only planning to be home for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And so all of our stuff was still in our apartment, but we ended up having to be in the United States for a whole year, which kind of is where that calling to stay long-term started, because it was a very hard time. It honestly hurt a lot, and we were very confused as to why this was happening. But at the same time, we started to feel more than just a love for the place. It's a very beautiful place. I mean, who wouldn't love Edinburgh, or like, Scottish landscape and that kind of stuff. It's incredible. So not just the place and not just the people that we had met, but we really started to feel more of a calling to the things that we had experienced in ministry while we were there. So specifically what the Free Church is doing with church planting and planting churches all throughout Scotland. So hundreds of churches in Scotland close every year. Less than 5% of Scots would profess to be a Christian, and that's a very narrow definition of what Christianity is. What we think of like the proper definition of being a Christian, like they would confess Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. They believe in the death and the resurrection, all these sorts of things. Not just like, I'm a decent person, I'm a Christian, or my family's always gone to church, that sort of thing, or go to church every once in a while. So less than 5%. And they're planting churches all over the place. At least that's the goal too. And we really fell in love with that and had a desire to want to be a part of it. At the same time, didn't want to be imposing on ourselves on a good work that's already happening
without us.
And so we were really just praying, Lord, if you want us to go back, could you please make it really obvious to us? Because we're really confused and don't know what to think right now. And the guy who's our pastor in Edinburgh, a guy called Neil McMillan, he's had a church planting for the denomination right now. He came and visited us February 2020.
Just before COVID.
Right before the world shut down. And
God's timing.
Yeah,
absolutely
exactly.
amazing.
Yeah. And he's like, I want to hear what you're thinking as far as coming back. Because we were planning on coming back and at least sort of finishing out this apprenticeship we had started. But he said, look, I don't know what you're thinking, but if you want to come back and stay long term, I think I've got a way for that to happen. There's this church plant you might be able to be involved in. And we're like, well, that feels really obvious. The exact thing we were asking for. And so we went back in September of 2020, and we're there through July of 2022 until we came back to the States for support raising. But that little idea that Neil was talking about is this church plant that we're now involved with. And it was just this very tiny idea, it's very embryonic stages. It wasn't really fleshed out yet. And
here we are.
Here we are.
There you are. So when do you all, what's the name of the church that you're going to be serving with?
Yeah, so we don't officially have a name yet.
For the church
plant, yeah. So we're deciding what that is going to be. But we're planting in a small town in Scotland called Leven, which is on the east coast of Scotland. It's right on the sea. It's really beautiful. It has about 30 minutes south of St. Andrews. So if you want to look it up on a map, there's your little... it's really small, so you're not going to be able to see it right away by looking.
Gotta zoom in a lot.
Zoom in, find St. Andrews, and go south on the east coast of Scotland. So we haven't decided a name yet. We do know that we want to have Leven in the name, for sure, because we want this to be a very communal, very locally minded, and locally placed church, because Leven's a really cool place with a very strong local identity and culture.
Tell us a little bit about Leven. You were telling me on the phone a while back, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of Huntington in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Can I share?
Yeah, go for it.
So Leven is a really small coastal town in Scotland. And so you think about it, and it might be this way in Huntington where, you don't really leave your town. Everything's kind of there. And it's kind of you're born there, you live there, you die there kind of place. And people enjoy living there. They love Leven. But there are several needs in Leven. So Leven used to be lots of mining, things like that. But that's all gone. That's been gone for 20, 30 years now.
Yeah.
And so with that has come a lot of poverty. There's not a lot of jobs there. There's a bottling company for spirits that's really close, not in Leven, but it's quite close. But the jobs that you do there, these people have, is like literally putting the caps and twisting them on these bottles. And that's really the biggest industry opportunity that they have for work. So you do see a lot of poverty, a lot of schemes, which is what we call in Scotland government housing. So lots of schemes, and things like addiction. So that's alcohol, that's drugs, that's what is it? Opioids is the big one.
Yeah, heroin's the big one, and has been for a while.
Yeah, and so lots of kind of junkie pockets, if you will, for a small town.
Yeah.
And lots of single mother homes, but the biggest thing is that there is no gospel teaching church or really a church at all in Leven. And we mean seriously, nothing.
Yeah.
In this small town. So that's the biggest need. And that's why we're talking about communal, is these people love their community. And actually, as we've started the plans to plant and have been in Leven and chatting with folks there, everyone, which is not normal, everyone is quite excited that people are willing to come in and want to help make it better.
They don't know exactly what we mean by help.
Yeah.
Because they don't really have an idea of what even a church does. But no one comes to Leven really to live there, let alone coming to help and do anything and be involved.
But that's just proof of God softening hearts already. He's already doing something, and it's so exciting. Just really exciting.
That's wonderful, and that gives us a snapshot into. So why Scotland? Why Leven? And gosh, just the reality that there's zero gospel teaching there is sad. But prayerfully, that all changes here. So when are you all planning, Lord willing, to get there?
The hope is August.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the earliest.
Yeah.
But definitely there by the new year.
Okay. Okay. And you all...
So we've got to meet 100% of our support goal in order to go. So that's the one thing it's dependent on.
What percent are you at currently?
We're at 50%.
Okay.
So
halfway there.
That's good. We're very happy with that.
Yeah. And you hit that 75 range, and you can start doing visas and getting things moving.
Okay.
So even closer within reach.
Yeah. Yeah. 25% away from really getting some traction on getting over there. Yeah. Well, we are super excited about you all coming to share with us on Sunday. Looking forward to sharing a meal and with you all afterwards. Any specific way that our church family can be praying for you all leading up to this time?
Oh, yeah. Pray for our drive down, that it'd be safe. Obviously, that's an easy one. And that Grayson sleeps on the drive down as well. I just think the big thing that we ask people for during this time of prayer is just our hearts continually while we do this. Because support raising is a thing that takes a lot of effort. And even with things that don't take a lot of effort, as people wrestling with sin, we always are tempted and tend to, take a little bit of a detour into thinking that things are accomplished by our efforts, rather than the power of the Holy Spirit and God's grace in us. And so that happens a lot during support raising, where you're so tempted to trust in that you can provide and that you can find the money and convince people that this is a good and worthy thing, and not depend on God to do it. And He's called us to it, and so we know He will provide. But our hearts especially. So we obviously would like for you guys to pray for obviously things like that we raise this money in the time span we're thinking of, but also for our hearts.
Yeah. Yeah, and the people of Leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very obvious God's doing something, and we're just keep praying for them eyes to be opened and ears to hear. And we do have co-planters that are natives, Jeff and Maddie, and their son Alistair, and they're actually expecting another little guy in the end of June.
Okay.
So they are living in the county of Fife, which is about in a town called Kirkcaldy, which is about 20 minutes from Leaving. So they kind of are going in and out. And you can just be praying for them because they're starting to do some groundwork. And as eager as we are to be there with them, they're doing it right now.
Yeah.
And you can really be praying for those encounters.
Yeah.
Jeff's on a badminton team with a lot of guys from Leaving. This is how he's meeting non-Christians in Leaving. He's on badminton team. And he's having a lot of like get to know you conversations. So be praying for those.
Yeah.
Those are big.
Absolutely. I get maybe badminton's the pickleball of the United States. Who knows?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
So lots to pray.
Absolutely. We will highlight that in this video, these prayers. Well, Elijah and Jessie, it is great to meet you all over the video. We've been looking forward to this coming Sunday.
Thank you so much, Mark. And we're looking forward to seeing all you guys. We're really thrilled that we mean it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds great. Hey, I hope you all enjoyed that intro video to Elijah and Jessie. Looking forward to having them worship with us this coming Sunday. Elijah will be preaching for us, and then they'll both be sticking around along with Grayson after the service and joining us for our fellowship meal. Hopefully you'll be able to have some time to get to know them a little bit better, ask them some questions, talk with them. This coming Sunday, they'll be bringing with them some prayer cards that you'll be able to put up on your refrigerator to remind you to pray for them, specific ways that you can be praying for them. But also you heard that they're raising support to go to Scotland, and they're at 50% now, need to get to 75%. We as a church support them monthly, but the Lord might also be calling some of you all to support them. And so maybe that's a monthly basis, or maybe that's a one-time check this coming Sunday. Either way is fine, and they'll have cards with QR codes on it. You can scan if you want to do that, or if you just want to write a check. There'll be instructions there on how you can do that as well. But maybe, just maybe, by God's grace, after they leave this coming Sunday, maybe they'll be at the 75%, and they can start working on those visas and getting to Scotland to Leaving a little bit quicker. So again, looking forward to worshiping with you all, and looking forward to having Elijah and Jessie and Grayson join us this coming Sunday. Have a wonderful day.